There we go. We have liftoff.
Apologies for that, councillors. It's now live and we should be ready to go.
Okay, back to the agenda. We were on to item 5, confirmation of the minutes at attachment A. Can I have a proposer, or is there any matters arising or inaccuracies in the minutes that people want to highlight?
I move we approve it, Chair.
Bala, have you proposed them there, Bala?
Yes, I have.
We accept them. Gordon?
I will second them.
Okay, that's lovely. Thank you. Moving on to item 6, confirmation, accounts for payment and bank reconciliation. At attachment B. Do you want Anne to go through that report for us?
Good evening, councillors. My name is Anne Barry. I'm the Finance Officer for Stanley Town Council. The papers relating to the accounts for payment and bank reconciliation for March 20 through to September 20 were circulated at the time of completion for information, and all questions raised at the time have been answered. So I'll just pause in case anybody's got any further questions. Nothing. And then October accounts for payment and bank reconciliation have also been circulated, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Okay, I'll open that up to the floor for questions, comments. Mark?
Thanks, Chair. First off, I'd just like to thank Anne for our work. It's the first time I think we've had it. I was going to say it on the camera, but Asha's just popped up in the corner there. She wasn't on before, but she is now. So thanks to Anne for that. Like Anne said, I think we've had the ones for this year up to the end of September. I think we've had them each month, so there's been the opportunity to ask questions. Obviously, we weren't at our full capacity for that time as well. So some of the we probably haven't got as many transactions as would normally be expecting. So if nobody has any questions, I'd like to firstly move that we approve the payments and schedules and receipts for March through to September. And we note the bank reconciliation for March through to September, because I think we can get those out of the way straight away, because we've all had the chance to look at them. There may be some questions on the one for October that we just got last week, but I think if we can move the first half out of the way first, then we can have a closer look at the second half possibly. So that's my proposal, Chair.
Okay. Yeah. I've got David Marshall and Helen Clark. David, I think you put your hand up first.
Yeah, I would formally second the motion that we accept the papers. There's obviously a lot of work gone into them. I did make some comments to people when I first got them because the type's a bit small and I'm having a job to read them. But other than that, I'm sure we'll get that right and for the future. So, yeah, I'll formally second it.
Thanks, David. Helen?
I just wanted one quick tiny question in September's.
Yeah.
There's some costs in for planning applications. Could I just clarify what that was for, please?
Off the top,
No.
sorry, off the top of my head, I can't remember what the planning application was. Alan Tubman, can you remember?
Hello. Yes, I can. Yeah, it was. I mean, it goes back to last November, I think it was, when we agreed to support some local war memorials. One of them was in Shield Row, one of them was in Tanfield. It was just the Shield Row one. I mean, we're supporting them with that. The AP's working with them as well, but we'd agreed in council to support them through that process. So we did that. So basically, that's what it was. I think the Tanfield Lee one's on hold at the moment, so we'll pick that one up when that one comes around.
Okay, that's fine, thanks.
That's lovely. So are we happy to accept those minutes? Yep, sorry, those accounts? Yep.
Yep.
We'll need to do a recorded vote for those. So I'll hand over to James to go through the process.
Thank you, Chair.
Chair, can I just come in? 2 seconds. Can I just come in before then? If nobody has any queries or questions about the October ones, to save us having 2 recorded votes and being sitting here for an extra 10 minutes, I'm just wondering if I move that we approve the item in number 3, which is the statement of accounts for October, and note the bank reconciliation as well. That would save us having to have 2 votes. So if nobody has any questions for October, then I'd move that, because it takes quite a while to have one of these recorded votes, if that's okay with everybody.
What does everyone think? Is everyone happy with that?
I'm happy with that. That's Bala speaking.
Yes. Right. Les, you've got your hand up. You're on mute.
Well, not no.
What?
I totally support Mark and everything he's just said. I think if we can speed it up, but we'll go through the right processes, I would second that motion.
Okay. Is everyone else happy with that? Helen, are you?
I just want to ask one question about October's, please, if I can.
Fire away.
Could you just clarify what Christmas decorations we've bought, please?
Chair, I'll take this one. So, Councillor Clark, the Christmas decorations were 2 Christmas trees that were purchased for the Civic Hall for the purposes of, obviously, the long-term Christmas purposes. When we looked at the stock that we had in place, it ranged from domestic cheap Christmas trees that have been donated, and also ones that were purchased some 5, 6, 7 years ago. So I made the decision to purchase some new Christmas trees, low-cost commercial Christmas trees that we have since used to decorate the certain areas in the Civic Hall for the purposes of photos, where we can use for marketing during the year and towards next Christmas, when I hope that we'll be back up to full capacity and we will be able to hire out rooms.
Are you happy with that, Helen?
Well, just obviously at this particular time, I just thought it was a funny purchase, but obviously that's it.
Yeah. Okay, so let's have our vote on all of the papers.
Chair, just to confirm that this recorded vote is for the purposes of approving the accounts for March to October, and also for noting the bank reconciliations. Councillor Gordon-Binney?
Oh, hang on, and also the October ones.
Yeah, the October ones as well. Yeah, March to October. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Councillor Gordon-Binney?
I accept.
Sorry, bear with me 1 second.
I thought Mark had proposed and Les had seconded. Sorry.
Jeanette, you're on mute.
Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, but you proposed that we would take all of the reports and approve payments from March to October, and that was seconded by Les, is that right?
Yeah, that was right. David seconded the first motion, but then it was changed to the second motion, so it was Les.
Right. Yeah, but we're just checking for making sure that we've got everything recorded accurately. Okay, so we'll go on to finally onto the vote.
Thank you, Chair. So just to confirm once again, this is for the accounts for payment and bank reconciliation for the periods of March 2020 to October 2020. So recorded vote, Councillor Gordon Binney.
I accept.
Councillor Helen Clark.
Accept.
Councillor Mark Davidson.
For.
Councillor Carol Hampson.
Accept.
Councillor James Kane.
Accept.
Councillor David Marshall.
For.
Councillor Joe McMahon.
Yeah, accept.
Councillor Ballinaire.
For.
Councillor Joan Nicholson.
Accept.
Councillor Jeanette Stevenson.
For.
Councillor Les Timby.
For.
Councillor David Tully.
For.
It's unanimous, Chair.
Lovely. On to item 7. If I can ask Anne to take us through this report at attachment S.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I've been working closely with obviously monitoring the budget this year very closely, especially with COVID. So at the moment, I am currently projecting that we will see a deficit of 27,536. And the reasons behind that are down to a number of understated budgets from last year, obviously a loss of income because of COVID, well, not an unexpected utility account, but a catch-up bill, repairs and maintenance, and the COVID-19 grants. So at the moment, as I say, the deficit's looking at around 27,000, but we are kind of working closely on a line-by-line basis to see if there's any further reductions, especially with the closure. So that's the position at the moment.
Okay. Does anyone have any comments? Want to raise anything? No? Well, we're recommended that we note this report. Is everyone happy to do so?
Yeah, I'm happy to note the report, Chair, if nobody has any questions.
Okay.
Everybody seems to be nodding, but I don't think it works very well on camera. So
it doesn't. That's great. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to item 8, the medium-term financial plan. And James is going to take us through this one.
Thank you, Chair. Members, the report as is written in front of you, hopefully, a few points to report on. The projected budget figure for next year is slightly adjusted because we've received our confirmation of our base council tax for next year, which would see that if we didn't increase council tax at all, it would see us at a start basis of minus £2,674.89. So that's based upon the council tax base being slightly lower than previous years. It's mainly down to the changes in people's circumstances around in the Stanley area. So moving forward, the medium-term financial plan covers next year's budget, the 21-22 budget, of which sees when we first drafted it as a deficit or a shortfall of £144,346. This was based on a continued spend that's been budgeted for last year with no change. What myself and the responsible finance officer, Anne, have been undertaking is a full review of the base budget costs. And on point 6 in the options, we've listed a number of options which are available to members, which would see the variance reduced to about £177. Obviously, that doesn't include the changes to the base budget of £2,674. So we'd be looking at a deficit so far of £2,800. One of the effects of this budget, though, is that our reserves, should we move to this, changing these options, our reserve base would reduce to levels of which they would fall below the identified minimal balance, of which we believe to be 3 months, of which is as accepted practice. The 5-year plan, of which is, sorry, my apologies, I'll just step to that page, which is in your Appendix C, shows the shortfall of the bottom for next year's budget of £177. And then moving forward with the 22-23 budget on the loss of the what we currently have of £102,000 of part of the LCTRS, which is the local council tax reduction scheme, would see us have a shortfall for 22-23 of 116,206, moving into 25-26 of 164,029. Obviously, you can see the accumulated deficits going forward as well. I think one of the biggest things to take from this report is the fact that we do need to make some changes, and we need to make some savings for next year, and also looking at future years as well. Thank you, Chair.
Yes.
Firstly, I'd like to thank both James and Anne for bringing a very comprehensive report here. And I would like this Finance Committee to recommend that James, as Town Clerk, goes ahead with a full organisation review and come back to our next finance meeting with recommendations for councillors to make decisions on. I would also ask them to remove the cut to the remembrance services. And I think we need to look at better governance of town council buildings after the next election. And apart from that, I agree to note everything else. But I think it's imperative that we give the town clerk that chance to put a full organisation review and report back with his recommendations to this Finance Committee.
Thank you, Chair. Just to confirm, upon Appendix B, Attachment T, we've made reference to a 1.5k saving, reducing remembrance services. So from would have £2,000 in for the remembrance service.
Yeah, that's what I'm proposing, James.
Thank you.
Helen?
What I would like to ask, I can see obviously in here that we've said about removing the strategic grant budget for next year.
Yeah.
Obviously, we do have the other Stanley budget fund.
Yeah.
Now, I am aware that I believe that we signed up to a 3-year deal with them. Obviously, because we're in unprecedented times, and because it hasn't, I know we've had additional funds from other areas, which have been very thankfully received and distributed within the Stanley area. Obviously, it's currently costing us around £7,000 or £8,000 for the 50,000 that we ourselves are putting in. I was just wondering if there was any way that we could have got out of that next year, just, you know, to run it past them to see whether or not it was feasible. All I was thinking is it's obviously, you know, 50 grand that we're putting in, £7,000 administration. So I just wondered if it was worth a conversation.
I don't think anything's off the table, Helen, you know, and I think anything that anyone has to suggest will have to go into the mix, and then if James can make a note of that, then we can look at bringing something forward.
You know, I mean, as I say, you know, the idea in principle, fantastic. It hasn't quite worked out, unfortunately, because we've gone into a COVID situation and you know, and it just seems it might be worth looking at.
Yeah. I mean, there's no guarantee that we can get out of the contract.
No, but I'm not saying there is, you know, I'm not suggesting there is. I just think it's possibly something.
Yeah, it's worth asking the question. Mark?
Thanks, Chair. I just want to be Mr. Pedantic, if that's all right, and ask a question on attachment P, appendix C, which is probably confusing for me, the way it's been put together this time. But we've got election costs for 21, 22, 23 grand. And then we missed 2 years, and then we've got 23 grand in for 24, 25. So is there something James knows about the electoral cycle that we don't, or is it we just trying to get our money in early? I don't know. I just want to ask about that, please.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Councillor Davidson. Yeah, you've identified an error on our part. That the 23,000 should be moved to the 25-26 year, and we'll ensure that gets sorted.
Thank you. Les? You're on mute, Les. Oh, you took that then. David Marshall?
Yeah, can I just say that I'm delighted the support we've been able to give the community following the COVID situation, and yeah, whereas it makes things difficult. I agree with you. There's nothing on the table. There's nothing off the table. We need to look at the whole thing, and when we get the report, the next report, I'm sure we'll be in a position to decide where we're going. I think that as the Armed Forces champion, I'm delighted if I would be delighted if we kept that money still available for remembrance services, because it covers the whole of the aspect of the Armed Forces thing. So yeah, pleased with that, and hopefully we can move forward on this one now.
Thanks very much, David. Les?
Jeanette, your hand will not go down.
We'll get Nicola to put it down for you, Les.
Yes.
Helen, are you...
Yeah, no, can I just quickly jump back in?
Yeah.
It was just to say, and I think there is different things going on in the background, and I know it's something that we did discuss in the Civic Hall Working Party, but obviously as part of this, I was just wondering if we are still continuing to look for potentially other funds that may well help the Civic Hall, any grants or anything like that that might be available that could come in to help next year, maybe with some funding in that area.
Yeah, we are, Helen. As I say, nothing's off the table and nothing's not being explored, but thanks very much for that. Okay.
Can I just have a quick?
Yeah. James?
Thank you, Chair. Members, you'll be aware that on the agenda that this report is for information purposes. Basically, what myself and are really looking for is that we are on the right track. So if people are happy for us to continue on that, I recognise obviously what Councillor Timby has said with regards to bringing the Remembrance Service budget back, and that's absolutely fine. And also regards to speaking on the Stanley Fund. But our members in general are happy across the board with the changes and the options that we've proposed so far.
Yes.
I am.
Yeah. Les, are you putting your hand up again, Les?
Yeah, this is my hand properly this time, Jeanette. It's just what I said earlier. I would like James to go away and bring a report of the full organisation review with recommendations back to this committee next month. And I think that's imperative that we see what James can look at with his recommendations, because we're getting near budget setting and we need seriously to move on and get things sorted for setting the budget.
That's lovely. Thanks, Les. So we're being asked to note the attached report, and also Les is asking us to agree that James bring that forward. Is everyone happy with that? Yeah. Seeing lots of nods. Lovely. Thank you. Moving on to item 9. Again, Anne, can I ask you to come in and take us through that report, please?
Yes, thank you, Chair. The audited annual return and the audit of the accounts for the year ending the 31st of March 2020 is concluded. The annual governance and accountability return is now available for inspection, and it's available on the website. There were 3 areas of minor scope for improvement, which we've noted and taken into account for next year's submission.
And we're being asked just to note this. So that's it. Okay. Everyone okay with that? No comments? No questions for Anne? Okay, that's lovely. Thanks, everyone.
Chair, I've got my hand up.
Oh, I couldn't say it there.
If Les isn't going down, maybe mine's not going up.
Well, go on.
I just wanted to ask on. I can see there's minor recommendations on there. Is there anything where you think we'll have any problems in fulfilling those minor recommendations, or do you think it's something that's easily in hand?
Yeah, it's very achievable. The 3 minor improvements. One was the bank reconciliation report that comes off our accounting system. The external auditor has recommended that we use their standard pro forma to make things easier for them. So that's easily done. And the other 2 were, there was one box hadn't been ticked, although they could gather the information from earlier on in the report. It was just a minor point. And one was from Gordon's section, where he didn't put not applicable in one of the boxes. So the 3 minor recommendations are easily achievable.
Yeah, so one of them is to suit them.
Yes.
And the other 2 seem like they're just things where, what do you call them, like typos, but not typos, if you know what I mean, whatever you call them, where you've just made a slight mistake.
Yeah.
The site.
So nothing wrong with the actual financial information. It was just one of the tick boxes.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Members, it's just a note, really, that this, obviously the audit was carried out by Anne and with the inclusion of Alan. Never done this type of thing before, so what they've achieved is fantastic for the authority, and we definitely will improve on this for next year.
Yes, all of our thanks. Okay, everyone. I'm on to item 10, emergency expenditure, and James is going to take us through this report and attachment fee.
Thank you, Chair. The emergency expenditure, which is in line with the STC Constitution Appendix 4.5, I've initiated emergency expenditure powers because of unforeseeable emergencies involving immediate risk to persons, property or other assets, or serious disruption to council services. All of these items of emergency expenditure were reported to councillors at the time, of which I have no further information or items to add to it.
Okay, open to the floor. Questions, queries, comments? For James? No? Can I ask that the council notes this report?
Yeah.
Everyone happy with that?
Note, yeah.
Happy to note the report, yeah.
Thank you. Okay, item 11, which is the Financial Services Compensation Scheme, and Anne is going to take us through that.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, we presented a report for the protection of the Stanley Town Council funds in view of obviously COVID and the concern in case any of the banks kind of went under, and financially we could be at risk of losing obviously anything over £85,000. So hopefully you've had a chance to read the report, which I've tried to balance it against all of the research and information that was provided by other bodies. The one thing that I would point out at the moment is it's very difficult to set up new business accounts at the moment, because most of the reputable banks are only focusing on existing customers. So if we agreed to transfer money, we wouldn't be able to do it at this moment in time.
Okay, any comments from anyone? We have two options available on our report. Option 1, leaving the banking arrangements as they presently are. Or 2, look to set up additional bank accounts when we are able to do so. Les?
Yeah, thank Anne again for the report, but I think we need to take option 2, because we should not be taking any financial risks at all with no matter how slight, but there is always that possibility that, and we're making decisions on the public money, we cannot be making a decision to say potentially we could be losing money. For those of the people in this meeting here that can go back to the days of Downside District Council when they lost absolutely fortunes to the Icelandic bank crash, I don't want to be in that position again. So I would like to take option 2. I understand what Anna said about getting new accounts because nobody's really doing, but I would say as soon as possible, we take option 2. That's what I would be proposing.
Thanks, Les. Joan?
Haven't been part of the Icelandic bank episode, and having looked at a number of other parish councils, they tend to have the limited amount, you know, the 85,000 in more than one account. And for me, that was the giveaway. Nobody has ever been in the position that we're in today. There is nobody will be able to say a bank won't go under, any bank. And I would rather have had it spread into lots of smaller amounts than lose however much we could have lost the way it is. And I absolutely understand the situation. But again, like Les, at the earliest opportunity, I think we should, do this.
Okay, thank you very much, Joan. Helen?
Basically, Les and Joan have just said what I was going to say, so I just think it's something that we definitely need to look at as soon as we can.
Okay. Do we need to have a vote on that, or yeah? We'll have a vote on that then. First of all, we need a proposer and a seconder for looking at option 2.
I'll propose that.
Okay.
And I'll second that.
Okay. That was Joan. Righty-ho, we'll pass over to James now, who will go through the named vote. Thanks.
Thank you, Chair. So for the option 2 is to look to set up additional bank accounts of which to deposit some of the reserves to spread the risk when able to. So if you can say for that or against if you were against that. Councillor Gordon Binney.
For.
Councillor Helen Clark.
For.
Councillor Mark Davidson.
For.
Councillor Carol Hampson.
For.
Councillor James Kane.
For.
Councillor David Marshall.
For.
Councillor Joe McMahon.
For.
Councillor Ballinair.
For.
Councillor Joan Nicholson.
For.
Councillor Jeanette Stevenson.
For.
Councillor Les Timby.
For.
And Councillor David Tully.
For.
Unanimous, Chair.
Wonderful. Thank you, everyone. If we can move on to item 12, which is the contract register. James is going to take us through this at attachment X.
Thank you, Chair. Attachment X. Members, there's nothing really to report on. It's for information purposes. It shows you the contracts that we have in place currently at the Town Council. What I would like to bring to your attention is that this is a work in progress document. There may be ones that we are missing. We are building it up as we go along because previously there was not a contract register in place. What I'd like to do is continuously, on a regular basis, we report this to yourselves until we've got a great picture of every single contract in place, and then you can be assured of what's in place for the Town Council.
Okay. Gordon? You have your hand up, Gordon? Is it a historical hand? Helen?
Yeah, all I was going to say, it's good. I think it's a very interesting thing, and obviously we do need to know what contracts we do have annually, biannually, whatever. The only thing I would possibly suggest is that there's a monetary amount for the different contracts that we have.
Thank you, Chair. We do have an extra column on here which will include the monetary amount, but for the purposes of not going to a Part B, that wasn't included for this purposes, for commercial purposes.
Right, okay.
Thanks, Helen. David?
Yes, can I just ask a question? Why is Nereo being missed off? We've always used Nereo. It allows us to spread our knowledge base, and if we did have a dispute with the county council, all our agreements on that side of it are with them. So it makes sense that we continue to use Nereo as we've always done. It was always part of the risk. So perhaps you look at that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, Councillor Marshall, what we'll do is we'll look into the Nereo contract. As I said, this is a working document as such, and it's not the finalised version, so there may be ones that are missing, but this is what we've got so far.
Les?
Yeah, I think it's great that we've actually seen something like this. It's It's good. It's fresh. One thing I would like to say is, because obviously there's few that are going to be up for renewal in the new year, I would propose to the clerk that we renew the SLA with Durham County Council for payroll and HR immediately or as soon as possible, so we've got everything in place going in, because if it's renewed in March, we need to budget what the cost's going to be. So I think we need that, and I think the services that both payroll and HR give to Stanley Town Council are exceptional, and that's probably been proved, especially with the payroll one, with the furlough that's mentioned in the furlough report, that James contacted them, he got the correct advice, and he could make a decision on the same day. So I think they are the two primary SLAs we need to keep, because our policies are geared around everything on DCC. The wages side, apart from the wages, they give advice on the pensions and anything else. So I think, for me, I would like this finance group to agree that James goes out and renews them two SLAs with Durham County Council as soon as possible.
Mark?
I'm not sure that I was in the queue next, and I've actually forgotten what I wanted to say.
You are in the queue next.
I'll put my hand down.
I've still got hands up from Helen, David and Les and Mark. So if you're not wanting to ask a question, can you take your hand down? Thank you. That's lovely. Was that a proposal, Les?
Yes, it was, Jeanette.
Oh, I've remembered what I wanted to say, Jeanette, if that's all right. I just wanted to say that that following on from what David was saying about Nerio, I think that that some of these items that are on this report and the next report are things that get agreed at the annual general meeting, or whether we still want to pay into them and support them and things like that. So it might be worth going back to the 2019 annual general meeting and seeing if there's anything that's listed on there that we haven't got on our compliance register or our contract register at the minute, James. I know that's sort of 18 months before your time, but we normally get like a big list of things. Do you still want to do this? Do you still want to do that? So it might be something, there might be something missed off that could get added onto that list. Okay, thank you.
Okay, we have a proposal. Do we have a seconder?
Happy second, Chair.
Thanks very much. James?
Thank you, Chair. Just with regards to the proposal on the table, it is one of the items where we can make a saving next year. It's one of the items where I've done a procurement exercise outside of Durham County Council with regards to our payroll, so that would increase the pressures for next year. I'm happy to go with the Finance and General Purposes Committee's decision, but just to make you aware.
Yeah, do we need a recorded vote for that one? James is not. Mark, your hand is up.
Champion, yeah, thanks, Chair. I'm sort of a bit flummoxed. James, can you point out where in the things that we've already looked at is the bit where it's where we're making a saving from not doing these things? And the other thing is, I'm also a bit confused because the people who we used as specialists in let's call it the Green Book. That Les will probably, he's got his hand up. Sorry, I'm probably stealing Les's thunder here, but the people who we use are experts in the Green Book? So are the people who we are potentially moving to, are they experts in the Green Book and council finances and that type of thing? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. The procurement options that we've looked at are for other payroll providers who sit outside of a county council. They do provide payroll services for other town councils across the country as well. One of the local ones is over in Keswick. In the report, the reductions are under savings across the council, £5,750. That's not for the full payroll costs, but that the payroll reduction or possible reductions is included in that.
Can I the chair ask
come in,
I just want to ask a question. You know, we're in the middle of trying to make savings and looking at, you know, our organisation. I'm just concerned that moving anything at this point in time when we're in need of expertise that we've had and used before could be a mistake. That's just my viewpoint. Les?
Yeah, I would like to come back. I think I'm as much perplexed by what Mark said as we haven't given any authorities for looking or being given any information about you were thinking about moving, and to go to a national company where the nearest one is Keswick. We should be protecting jobs in Stanley, County Durham, not outsourcing to other areas of the country, which I think is absolutely horrendous. The Green Book is very technical. Apart from anything else, payroll give us information for the staff on the local government pension scheme and everything else. And I just think I would rather stick in what Jeanette said. We're getting too close to doing other things. We need to keep this in our remit.
David?
Yes, I agree with Les. I don't mind the clerk looking to see where savings can be made, and I think we should always identify those. But it needs to be not only one of looking at the total finances, but what the service will be, and if that service is adequate. Because I've never heard of going to Cumbria. I don't think anybody has. You've raised it, and I think we would wait for a report from you on that one to see if you want to do any changes. That's fine. You bring them along, but I think the council will take the decision on whether we accept them or not, bearing in mind the total package.
Mark?
Thanks, Chair. I'm just wondering how much we are potentially looking to save, because I still kind of find it on this thing. I've got too many bits of paper in front of us, unfortunately. James, do you know off the top of your head how much it would save? And if you don't buy, it's okay, because we'll get a report about it sooner or later anyway. So thank you.
Yeah, please.
Thank you, Chair. So this potential saving is about £1,000.
Chair, it cost us more in travelling money to go up to Cumbria and see them.
I mean, it just might be at this moment in time, given what we've got ahead in the very short term, that we don't move at this point in time, but have something in the future where we can, you know, have a look at what the market has to offer. It's just having gone through this whole process, myself leading on it, I couldn't have managed without the support that was given from both the HR side and the job evaluation side. That's done through payroll by Durham County Council.
Yeah. Thank you, Chair. Just to confirm, members, no agreements have been made, no Basically, what we put together is a procurement programme, and we're slowly going through that. One of the things that we looked at is obviously for payroll, as we are looking at every line, and it's an option that's on the table. As I said, nothing's been agreed. The budget hasn't been set. All the are our options at this present moment in time.
So, what do we need to have a vote now? Or is there anyone else got anything else to say?
Yeah, I proposed it, so I'd like to take that vote if I can get a seconder.
Hang on 2 seconds, Les, because David wanted to say something, and then Joan.
Well, it was just to second Les's motion, really. I mean, anything that's going to save money we should be looking at, but I think the reports come up a bit out of the blue, which surprised me and surprised one or two others. So, yeah, I always look to see where savings can be made and what the options are. But I think we just note the report and then we take it forward from there.
Joan?
I'd be happy to note the report. The reason being I'd like to see it's a like-for-like service for the same amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I'd need to see a report on that before I would, be interested. But I do think it's always a worthwhile, look at anything.
Yeah.
But just note for now, I'm happy with that.
Yeah. Okay. David?
Yeah, just can I ask you a question, Chair? Were you aware that this information was being sought, or is this the first time you've heard of it?
No, I was aware. Because, we are looking at across the whole of the organisation. And as I said to Helen, on an earlier item, we are simply looking at absolutely everything. Nothing's been done and everything is options at this point in time. And that is one of the options that's been looked at. But obviously, it's not for anyone to make a decision, certainly not even for this committee. This committee will make recommendations that would go to a full council anyway.
Exactly.
Helen?
I think we don't need to get hung up. I think it's always good to get an idea of what else is out there just to make sure that we're getting value for money.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that, and I think yourself, James, whoever it is that's put this together to sort of go out there and have a little look. And I mean, if it is only the difference of £1,000, then I'm quite in, agreement. You stay where you are for the time being, not an issue. Mm-hmm. And then we'll make sure going forward, if we do want to look at any of this going forward, then we'll go through everything meticulously. Mm-hmm. So I think looking is fabulous, and getting quotes and ideas from other places is the way forward to make sure that we're getting value for money for what we are getting.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's the public purse after all. Okay, so we now have to vote. So what we're being asked to vote on is that we renew those contracts, in particular with Durham County Council, to make sure that we have the correct expertise in place going forward. Les?
I proposed it, Jeanette, and I think we should do it as soon as possible, and that's the motion I've put to it. We can it's only an annual SLA. We can review it next year, but for this next year, we need to stay with DCC.
Yeah. Mark?
Thanks, Chair. Just want to agree with Les. I think that that by the time we look at somebody else, negotiate with somebody else, and try to move things along, we'll be well into the process that we want to go through. So I think that we should move it on for a year and look to take a saving next year if there's a one there, because according to the information that I kind of put my hand on again, sorry, the information that we had, there's already 100 grand needs to get found next year, as well as the 144,000 that needs to get found this year. So it would seem that that agreeing to do that and getting that in place, and then re-looking at it in, I don't know, say April or May. Well, not be April or May, but that'll be paid. But you know what I mean. Looking at it
next
in
year.
the new financial year would give us plenty of time to be able to stop one agreement and start another agreement and make it more seamless than it would be if we just took it at this very minute. Thanks, Chair.
So we've now got a proposer and a seconder, and we'll go to James for a vote.
Thank you, Chair. So the proposal is to re-sign up with Durham County Council for the contracts of payroll and HR as soon as possible. So Councillor Gordon Binney.
For.
Councillor Helen Clark.
For.
Councillor Mark Davidson.
For.
Councillor Carol Hampson.
For.
Councillor James Kane.
For.
Councillor David Marshall.
For.
Councillor Joe McMahon.
For.
Councillor Ballinaire.
Balla, you're on mute.
Well, I think he's fallen asleep.
Councillor Joan Nicholson.
For.
Councillor Jeanette Stevenson.
For.
Councillor Les Timby.
For.
And Councillor David Tully.
For.
It's unanimous, Chair.
Wonderful. So moving on to 13, James again to take us through the compliance register there at attachment Y.
Thank you very much, Chair. Again, this is just for information purposes. It is the current compliance activity inspections that we have here as part of the Stanley Town Council. It's again for information purposes, and obviously any comments come.
Okay, open to the floor. Joan?
I only have one question, and it's a bit of a bugbear. Why, or do we know the reason that the fly tower service, why it wasn't inspected? Because when we first took over the building, this was absolutely a nightmare for us. So I don't know how this compliance has, not been arranged.
Yeah.
You couldn't put a pantomime on. You couldn't put a pantomime on if you hadn't.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. So the fly tower was replaced a couple of years ago, and we obviously we're out of date with regards to the fly tower as a service. It was something that was brought to my attention very recently, and because the fly tower hasn't been used, there is no danger. But obviously, if we wanted to use it moving forward, we would have to get it serviced. It's been through our insurance, and they've been happy in the last year that the technicians have looked at it and they're happy with it. But this year, we really need to get it serviced.
Okay, any other comments? Are we happy to note that? Yeah, lots of nods. Thank you very much. Item 14, the Redmond review.
Thank you, Chair Megan. So the report is as read as in front of you. It's basically the background on the Redmond review that was undertaken at the bequest of the Ministry of Housing, Communities and Local Government. It looks at the effectiveness of external audit and the transparency of financial reporting in local authorities. As I've mentioned, there is a lot in the report with regard to their background. However, the effect on this town council isn't as such, because we don't come under a lot of the things that the county council and borough councils do. If council did decide that they wanted to do anything, obviously we'd need a recorded vote, but for the purposes of this report, it's just a note.
Okay, I actually asked for this report to be put on just so that for information, because it doesn't actually impact upon ourselves as a parish and town council. It's mainly about principal councils, but it is something that in the future they may start to look at audits within town and parish councils. So it's just for information. Any comments? Okay, are we happy to?
I just wanted to say that it's probably the most boring report I've had since I've been on Stanley Town Council. One that says it doesn't affect you, but it might in the future. It's sort of one of them telly adverts in it. The value of your investments might go up or down. So please note it and move on as fast as possible. Thank you.
Well, I just thought, better to be aware than not aware. So we're just noting this report and moving on. Item 15. James again.
Thank you, Chair. This next report is in 3 parts. I'll go through each one individually. That's okay. The first one is a stock write-off. Obviously, as we move forward in the year, we haven't purchased any new stock since we went into lockdown back in March, but the stock that we do have is slowly becoming obsolete and past the best before date. I've mentioned there in the current situation that any product sold beyond its best before date would need to be marketed as such. So that would be open if council wanted. However, it is my opinion of the town clerk that we write this stock off.
Mark?
Thanks, Chair. I was a bit confused there because there's 2 parts of the decision. The other one is about delegating future stock write-off up to £500 to the town clerk. I was just wondering what people thought about that, because in the sum we're talking about here, it's probably something the council does know about, but the town clerk does have delegation for other matters. So I'm wondering if we can grant this delegation and put a little caveat on, I don't know, say £500 a quarter, something like that, and then get them to report back to financial general purposes after it's been done, because it seems like the amounts we're talking about here aren't very large. So well, the other thing is that it won't happen very often, because the next time we'll have a COVID-19 epidemic, well, there won't be one. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think it'll happen very often. So I'm happy to try and work with them and say something like £500 a quarter and report it to the Finance Committee when you've done it, something like that, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Les?
Yeah, I totally agree with what Mark says, because if and when we get the Civic Hall back up and running and having shows in there, the bar stock, bar management there should be very little, if any, wastage. So I would agree with Mark at £500 a quarter, and any write-off is reported back to the Finance Committee.
Thanks, Les. Helen?
Yeah, all I was wondering was, obviously, James has already said that some of it's either getting past its date or already past its date. Is there anything there that we could give out to communities? Is there anything there that people might want to buy? I don't know.
Possibly is the. I do have a breakdown of the items on my laptop, which I was given to. Some of it is pop, some of it is alcohol, some of it is kegs. So there's a balance there. We could offer it to local community. My only side of things is, the time that it would take to possibly sell that. But I'm obviously able to do that if the council.
I mean, obviously not so much the alcohol, but obviously if there's pop or whatever, is it something that the food bank or Packed House or somebody like that could utilise? Mm-hmm. It just seems, rather than just tip it down the sink.
Absolutely, I'm more than willing to get in touch with the food banks and offer that. I'm not 100% sure on whether they would take out of date pop, but if that's the case, then absolutely, yeah, we could do that.
David?
Yeah, well, I agree with the write-off. I was wondering what it means by disposed of in the most appropriate way. I mean, there's been a suggestion there that we look at giving community some use out of this, and I would like to see our community supported. We have written stuff off in the past, and we did get some money for bottled beer, and I know we got a return on that. Special circumstances at the moment, and I agree with the write-off.
Okay. So was Mark, was yours a proposal?
Yeah, please, Chair. But I think that Helen's proposal was slightly better than mine. So my proposal is that we agree the second half, and I think that would like to see whatever non-alcoholic stuff we've got go to either Packed House or one of the food banks for distribution to people, because they will take them, because quite a bit of the stuff they've got will be out of date. So that's an excellent idea.
Helen, are you going to second that as the second part of the proposal?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, that's lovely. Thank you.
The Chair, just to confirm, this will need a recorded vote again because it's stock write-off. But you are, we are writing the stock off, but we are looking to rehome the stock, the non-alcoholic stock, to one or multiple of the food banks, and you are allowing me any future write-off up to £500 per quarter to be reported following to the Finance and General Purposes Committee.
Correct.
James, 2 cents on the same similar basis as well. That if there's stuff that's non-alcoholic that needs to get written off, then if you can offer that to the food banks and their whatever first.
Yep.
So in any future ones as well, please. Thank you.
That's fine. That's fine. Councillor Gordon Binney.
4.
Councillor Helen Clark.
4.
Councillor Mark Davidson.
4.
Councillor Carol Hampson.
4.
Councillor James Kane.
4.
Councillor David Marshall.
4.
Councillor Joe McMahon.
4.
Councillor Ballinair.
4.
Councillor Joan Nicholson.
4.
Councillor Jeanette Stevenson.
4.
Councillor Les Timby.
4.
And Councillor David Tully.
4.
It's unanimous, Chair.
Wonderful. On to your next one when you're ready.
Thank you, Chair. So the next point is the point 2 of the agenda item 15 in the furlough scheme. On the 3rd of November, the government released new guidelines with regards to the furlough arrangements of staff. Under 4, businesses and venues which must close. Entertainment venues such as theatres, as ourselves, were required to close. Also, under the new guidance, the public sector employees, we could furlough staff based upon them being part of income generation. So effectively, if they were part of the civic hall in its essence of a theatre or venue, then we could furlough them. So in the report, I just want to make you aware that we have furloughed some members of staff, of which you've been notified in an email prior to this, and if there was any questions or comments.
Les, sorry.
Just one question, James. Through the furlough, how much are we saving in wages? Or is there any savings in wages?
So thank you, Councillor. So just to make members aware, we furloughed staff on a basis of 100% pay. There's no external agreement with the unions or with individual staff to furlough them to 80%. And the finance officer will be able to provide full costs for that if she's available.
Hello. Right. I haven't got it to hand. Off the top of my head, it's approximately £4,700 for November.
So, and if the furlough system's going to run till March,
Right.
There's no guarantee that, you know, whatever this government's decisions might be, you know, we might be opening cinemas and whatever, you know, but projected, what savings could we make to the end of the furlough system that has been announced till March, basically?
March should be looking at a further 19,000.
So 23,000 altogether.
That's
yes,
correct.
thanks very much for that. That's quite good.
Very good. Helen?
Just a quick question. Is this second furlough system totally different to the first one?
It's not totally different, but it is different. There's elements.
So,
James?
no, all I'm just wondering is, obviously, did we miss a trick in the first one?
No, we weren't allowed.
Right. No, I just wanted clarification on that. Wasn't sure.
James will have more clarification than that, I'm sure.
Okay.
So this furlough system that's in place now, although it is very similar to the previous one, there is additional correlations where we are able to furlough staff who weren't furloughed before. So effectively, the system starts again.
Right. Are we up to 16?
No.
Oh, no, sorry. I'm trying to cut you off when you're only halfway through.
Over halfway through now, 2/3.
Yes, 2/3. Sorry about that.
No, thank you, Chair.
On to the next item, thanks.
Chair, the next report is the priority maintenance. So currently in the budget, all the maintenance programmed, all the budget for the maintenance of the Stanley Town Council Civic Hall has been spent. What we've done is we've identified a planned maintenance programme where items of high risk required immediate action. There's also additional works which don't require immediate action, but it should be done from our viewpoint whilst the building is closed. The full cost of this comes to £16,500. As I mentioned, some of this is due to health and safety in the workplace, whilst other works are required to continue to move the building forward. One of the mentions that I've put in the report is to do with the public sector decarbonisation project, and apologise for members who are not aware of this project that's moving forward. The government have made available £1 billion to be allocated across the public sector. We are currently working with a local organisation from New Cayo who are providing surveys, etc., for a full replacement of a new heating and hot water system, new LED lighting and new improved insulation. Although this area does score high, because we are exploring other avenues of funding, it's not included in this initial £16,500. So part of the £16,500 is also a plus up to a 20% variance, because what we found in this building is where we unearth one item, sometimes there's something else underneath it at the same time.
Jeanette, you talking to yourself?
Any comments or questions, anyone? Should be able to read my lips by now. No comments? No questions for James? Mark, trust you.
Well, if there isn't any comments and any questions, then like to propose that we agree to the recommendation and we note the report and decide to go ahead with the work, please, and then get a report on the work when it's finished, because obviously we've given a variance there for 20%, so we need to find out if it's going to be spent or not, like ASAP. Thank you very much.
Do we have a seconder?
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. So this is for a decision to allow me to spend up to £16,500 plus up to a 20% variance, of which a report will be brought back to finance and general purposes. So, Councillor Gordon Binney.
For.
Councillor Helen Clark.
For.
Councillor Mark Davidson.
For.
Councillor Carol Hampson.
For.
Councillor James Kane.
For.
Councillor David Marshall.
For.
Councillor Joe McMahon.
For.
Councillor Ballinair.
For.
Councillor Joan Nicholson.
For.
Councillor Jeanette Stevenson.
For.
Councillor Les Timby.
For.
And Councillor David Tully.
For.
It's unanimous, Chair.
Thank you very much, everyone. Now we shall move on to item 16, pay award. And poor James, it's you again to take us through the report.
Thank you, Chair. This is a report to note, and it's a bit of a strange one. Obviously, all employees of Stanley Town Council work under the National Joint Council for Local Government Services, meaning our terms and conditions are linked with the Green Book, of which a National Joint Agreement has been agreed for a 2.75% increase, which is backdated from the 1st of April 2020. It was a recommendation from CDALC that suggested that despite officers' pay being wholly determined by the National Joint Council for Local Government Services, there is a need for councillors to agree the 2.75% increase for the 2021 year.
Jeanette, you're on mute.
Les?
Yeah. Thank you for the report, James, but I'm a little bit disappointed at the pay scales that you've put in this pack, because them pay scales, if you look at the far end, they're only for the clerk's scale ranges. I think it would have been much better for the councillors to understand what our staff rises on their pay grades are in, pay grade 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think it would be much more clearer, because no disrespect to yourself, you're one member of staff, where the other members of staff, that hasn't been put forward, and I think it should have been put forward.
Fully taken on board, and I can disperse that information around following the meeting.
Thanks very much, James. Okay, so do we need a proposer?
I'll propose it.
To note, okay.
I'll propose that we agree this pay award.
Yeah. And a seconder?
I'll second that.
Bala, thank you, Bala. Okay, and do we need a named vote?
Just a vote on that.
If everyone's happy with it? Thumbs up?
Yeah.
Thank you. And finally, moving on to item 17, with regards to reports, this is the final one. James, is it you again? Oh no, it's Alan, isn't it? Alan, are you there?
I am, yeah. be keeping out of the way. This is just a really brief report, really, especially on top of everything everybody's had to deal with tonight. We've been approached by Age UK to hire one of our rooms out to carry out some advice with one-to-ones with some families in the area that can't accommodate at home. What it is, we've got no problem with the hire. Dawn's been looking at that for them to look at it, give them it a reasonable rate. But what they have asked is if we would consider doing it for free, basically giving them free room hire. We'll play it whichever way that we can ask them yourselves. We'll go back to them with whatever decision we get. Okay, thank you.
Jeanette, you're still on mute. Again, third agenda item in a row.
It's very late. I'm tired. Joan. Well, Joan.
Joan, you're on mute as well.
Joan, you're on mute.
Sorry, mine's just a waste of time tonight. It doesn't do what you're asking it to do. I thought Age UK had a building of their own.
They do.
So is there a reason that is the building too small? Why can
Alan, you're on mute. Alan, you're on mute. So
yeah, I must have double clicked. I don't know. I mean, to be honest with you, it mustn't be suitable because they've come to ask us. I mean, if they wanted to use this because their building closed down. I mean, what they were suggesting was it was normal home visits. They would normally go and visit people at home. So maybe the building isn't suitable to get people in. They wanted one of our rooms in here to get people in where they could discuss things with them in here. So that's as much information as I've got, to be fair.
Thanks, Alan. Helen?
Well, I would like more information about it. And I think, unfortunately, at this particular time, we're not making any money. And I think we cannot really be giving things away for free, for me. Sorry.
Les?
Yeah, I totally agree with Helen. We cannot be given in this time. And I think we definitely need more meat on the bones for what this proposal is, because it doesn't say if it's every day, once a week, once a month, or whatever. But even if we did during this COVID situation, it would be the extra costs for us, because every time somebody's been into a room, that room's got to be sanitised. So I think everything going ahead, and we've got a discount rate for a charity anyway. So that's my thoughts on it, but I support everything that Helen said. And as Joan said, they've got a building, so why aren't they using their own? I don't know.
Mark?
Thanks. Oh, that was a bit squeaky. Hope it wasn't somebody's knee. Thanks, Chair. I'm sort of in the same opinion as everybody else, but the other thing is that don't we pay $57,000 for an advice partnership? And if a different group wants to meet clients and give advice that they can't do in their own home and they can't do whatever, surely the first thing you would do is you would approach the advice partnership to see if it was something that they could help out with, because surely that's the point in having a thing where it's got no wrong door or whatever, you know what I mean? That would be my opinion. So we do need more information. We need to know if they can pay. That was the one thing I'd like to know. We'd like to know what they want, like Les says, but I think that they should also be looking at exploring whether the advice partnership was something that would get help from as well. Thanks, Chair.
David?
Yes, Chair, thanks very much. With all of our finances that we've been making available, we looked very strongly and decided which areas we wanted to support. And we put all the advice services into one pot. We put others into packed house. We put it into women's advice. And there's definite areas. And I think if we start watering it down and more people come in wanting to give advice, when we've got organisations that's already doing that, I would move that we, at this present time and the information I've got, that we ask them to approach the other advice services and see if they can join up with them and provide a better service.
Okay, Alan, are you happy with that?
Yeah, I'm happy with that. Like I say, I think it was just a general inquiry to see whether we would be up for that, and then they would have fitted in with what they do. But certainly I can go back with that. That's no problem at all. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. No. Okay. The date and time and venue of the next meeting is Tuesday, the 8th of December, 6:30 via Microsoft Teams. And can I just thank everyone for your forbearance? Oh, I'm on. No. Oh, no. I thought I was on mute again.
Sorry, Chair. One of the things that we received today was notification that the precept demand to Durham County Council was required to be in by January the 22nd of January, which is slightly different to our arranged meeting on the 26th. So I was proposing, or where the council were minded to have a meeting on the 19th of January, and whether we could put that forward for full council.
What do people think? David?
Yeah, well, we've got a time scale to be met, and if we don't precept requested, we won't get it. So on behalf of the people of Stanley, I think we should move that meeting forward so we can get a decision in the correct time and in a timely manner. Thanks, Noel.
Thank you. Everyone happy with that?
John's on there.
Joan?
I was just going to say exactly the same as David. You know, if you want your money, you'll have to put it in.
Yeah,
if you don't.
Exactly. Okay, so we're happy to agree that. And
so, Chair, is the proposal to move? I wasn't quite clear what James was saying. Is the proposal to move our meeting from the week after, or is the proposal to have an additional meeting just to agree a budget and then have the normal meeting the week after?
No, I think it's to move it to the 19th, isn't it?
Chair, just to confirm, obviously this would need to be agreed by full council because it would be a full council meeting. So the proposal is just from finance that we either move the meeting to meet the precept demand or we have an extraordinary.
Full council will agree that, or not agree that.
If we've got the choice, then I would say that we just move the meeting back a week. If that's because it would seem to have a meeting for, I don't know, what could be 10 minutes, what could be an hour to talk about the budget, and then come back again next week to talk about the other things.
Yeah.
So if everybody's happy with that.
That's the recommendation that this meeting will put forward, if everyone's okay with that, to full council. Okay. So again, thank you very much, everyone. It's been a long meeting, but I think we've got some brilliant work done. And thank you so much, everyone, for all of your contributions. It's been a really good opportunity to sort everything out. Thanks now.